On Antarctica's wild and remote seas, the battle is raging between those killing whales for research and those attempting to stop them. Now, a daring team of scientists head into this Cold War zone to prove it's possible to research these great leviathans without harming them.
You can know everything you need to know by not killing whales, and I strongly believe in that.
Unlike Japan's lethal scientific whaling, this new breed of hunter pursues its target with technology, not deadly weapons. In a bold attempt to reveal the secrets of these mysterious, persecuted mammals. Beloved for their haunting song and approachability, there's still a lot we don't know about the mighty humpback. Now, a 42-day expedition led by the Australian Antarctic Division will send 16 whale biologists to the bottom of the world to study humpbacks, minkes, and other great whales that inhabit these frozen seas. Whale biologist Nick Gales wants to present vital new data to the International Whaling Commission using non-lethal methods.
The information that is really required for conservation management of whales is derived from non-lethal techniques. That's a simple fact.
The Australian and New Zealand governments stand behind his efforts to the tune of $3 million.
For the first time, we have a research project, the largest of its kind in the world, and says that we don't have to kill whales in order to learn about them.
To achieve this, Nick Gales needs to attach satellite tracking tags to whales from these inflatables, something he's never attempted in Antarctica before.
So now we can finally attach tags to whales and look at where they go in near real time.
They'll have to contend with challenging Antarctic conditions. Once underway, there's no turning back.
That's the first run we've had on the new boats. So as long as it runs that well in Antarctica, then all we need is a few cooperative whales.
First, they'll head south into the little-known Eastern Ross Sea. Then track west along the ice edge where minke and humpback whales are known to feed. And finally, work the remote Bellini Islands, where humpbacks have been reported in big numbers. The mission to safely guide the expedition falls on the shoulders of Captain Andrew Leachman.
It's just pleased to be away. We'll get everything stowed before we take on the Southern Ocean.
This is no ordinary whale watch. It's one of the most high-tech whale research expeditions to ever venture this far south.
We've got on board the Tangaroa the best acoustics people available and geneticists, and we've developed the best possible satellite tags we can use.
The team's non-lethal techniques involve some deadly-looking gear. They need to shoot these satellite tags into the backs of the whales at very close range. To a whale, it's like a human receiving a flu shot, except the needle stays in.
You can see those two are actively sprung open, and that's a major way of holding the tag in the whale.
The tag eventually drops out. Hopefully, not before it's uploaded lots of data, giving away their secret migration paths.
And that's all that's left in the whale, and the aerial that sends the signal up to the satellites.
Nick is chief whale tagger for the A team, while researcher Sarah Robinson will tag for the B team. She didn't realize she'd need to become a sharpshooter to study whales, but she's turned out a natural.
It's a lot about timing, the boat operators getting the boats in place, the guns being ready to deploy, and the whales being cooperative enough for the tag to go away at that perfect time.
By day 2, the team is settling into shipboard life while the sea is still calm. Also aboard is genetics researcher Natalie Schmidt, making her first trip to Antarctica. with a family legacy to uphold. Her great-grandfather was part of a famous Australian expedition to Antarctica in 1911.
He was one of the wireless operators on Macquarie Island during Mawson's expedition. And so I've grown up as a young kid with this fascination of Antarctica and, wanting to follow in his footsteps.
Now she has that chance. Natalie's mission is to make DNA connections between humpback whales studied in Eastern Australia and the Pacific with those she encounters in Antarctica.
Well, the questions that I'm really interested in studying down here is what humpback breeding populations are using this part of the Southern Ocean to feed. Are we seeing just one breeding population, or are we also seeing some of the rarer breeding populations that migrate off the South Pacific?
To find those answers, Natalie needs help. Fellow researcher Simon Childerhouse will dart the whales to retrieve a tiny skin sample or biopsy using specially adapted rifles.
Then basically I'll go back and extract the DNA and then we can find out all sorts of things.
Natalie needs at least 50 specimens to give her a wide enough genetic sample to complete her PhD. As albatrosses lead Tangaroa south, humpback whales have also been on the move. Their great migration started 4,000 kilometres north in the tropics, where warm oceans provide an ideal nursery. Although found in every ocean, humpbacks are common in waters off eastern Australia, with rarer groups spanning New Caledonia, Tonga, and across to French Polynesia. Each summer, these individual groups head south on one of the longest migrations of any mammal, while enduring a 26-degree sea temperature drop.
You going to mug me?
Am I going to mug you?
Is that gorgeous or what, eh?
And I believe I can run a decent marathon.
Thank you very much.
Download Unveiling now.
To search for a good spot to feed. Rochelle Constantine has studied humpback whales in Tonga, but precisely where they go in Antarctica is a mystery.
It's like a missing link to our study of the whales and their breeding grounds. Where are they going when they feed? Who are they mixing with? What's going on down there and what are they doing?
Rochelle wants to discover their Antarctic feeding grounds and write that missing chapter in the lives of her Tongan whales.
Oh my God!
6 days out, Natalie spies her first slice of Antarctica.
Just the immensity and beauty of it is just beyond words. It's just wonderful.
Captain Leachman doesn't find the icebergs so charming. But as long as the radar can spot them, he's less concerned with ice than he is with fire. With extra fuel on board, fire drill becomes second nature. They'll sail far beyond the reach of a timely rescue should disaster strike.
Michael! Stefan!
Voyage manager Anthony Hull makes it clear everyone's responsible for their own safety.
General principles are that look after your back, all right, and you're just front-end loaders.
They must be up to the challenge of moving a patient in rough seas. Serious injury deep in the Southern Ocean could be deadly. Just in case, they've installed an operating theatre, complete with trauma surgeon and high-tech medical equipment. With the safety drills over, Sarah begins the science program.
That's better.
It starts small with the plankton recorder. This device is towed behind, logging densities of tiny plankton and krill, the whale's main food source. But the rising swell doesn't help the launch. It's a constant reminder of the dangers ahead. As the storm kicks up, Tangaroa's radar goes out, unsettling the normally unflappable captain.
But I wish the radar would work. When the wind got up to 45 knots, the radar stopped, which makes it a little bit difficult. It makes me cross.
Luke, a Navy officer eager to learn the ways of ice navigation, volunteers to go aloft and reset the radar. Without radar, they can't tell if rogue icebergs are nearby, so it's all hands to the watch. As the sea increases, Natalie needs to learn simple tasks, like walking and keeping meals down.
I've tried to make sure that everything in my cabin has been, strapped in, and I'm looking forward to stepping up onto the bridge and just having a look at these big seas. That is if I don't get the dreaded seasickness.
From now on, this will be the new normal. Some team members are ordered on deck to batten down the hatches.
It didn't appear that that front would be coming, but it bloody did. It came with a vengeance.
Like most Antarctic storms, it blows out as fast as it blew in. They can expect a lot worse to come. As the sea settles, the captain spots a whale in the distance.
You coming, Dave?
Nick calls the team together.
Have we got everyone? The most important purpose today is to make sure that effectively we should be ready to be operational this afternoon. We're starting to see whales now, the conditions are reasonable, and if it's workable, we're going to go.
As the ice thickens, they enter the Antarctic killing fields. Not just from the old whaling days, but more recently with Japanese ships targeting minke and fin whales for their lethal research program.
Most of these whales were taken down to very tiny numbers and are now recovering.
Before the killing began, Southern Hemisphere whales numbered in the millions. In the 20th century alone, hunting wiped out more than 2 million.
And so we want to know where they're recovering in the Southern Ocean. It's a big area that we can at last start to contribute through these non-lethal tools.
Unlike the lethal researchers, this team will be shooting whales to save them.
Oh, whale. Just 130, I suppose, heading left.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, that's a minke.
Yeah.
Where's the footprint, isn't it?
A small group of minke whales has split from the main pod. Perfect for their first tagging. "14 days into the voyage, and the team finally have a chance to start working with whales.
I think it's like 4 or 5.
They looked sort of like they were going
So it looked like
left to
they're
right,
coming over
but not moving fast.
They'll have to move fast. The rising wind could make it too dangerous to launch the inflatables.
If they're not travelling, I think it might be worth a go.
Yeah. Well, I might just grab the
Natalie, we're off.
Really?
It's time for Natalie to get her DNA research up and running, and for Nick to put the satellite tagging system to the test. Antarctic conditions mean they'll need every fibre their high-tech clothing can offer.
I don't know what to expect. I can hardly move. I'm totally covered up, and I'm going to put these on now.
They'd only survive 15 minutes if they get dumped in the freezing ocean. So dry suits are their only barrier between life and death. On deck, the conditions are brutal, with a 30-knot blast pushing the wind chill down to minus 18 degrees Celsius.
There we go.
The trick is balancing comfort and safety while being able to operate equipment. So 4 layers ought to be enough.
Yeah, we've got a lot of gear on and we're sort of taking time to get used to it. I've got 2 layers of thermals and then polar fleece on top of that. I'll have 2 balaclavas. I've got these great boots that keep my feet lovely warm.
Hands are always the hardest to keep warm.
I have my inner layer with surgical gloves over the inner layer, and then these cut-off gloves over the surgical gloves, and then wristlets over the cut-off gloves.
There are hands in there somewhere. You look like a Burns victim.
Behind their frozen smiles, there's concern. Winds above 30 knots will make it unsafe to shoot the tags, or worse, flip their inflatables. But Kurt Jenner is optimistic.
Looks pretty good actually right now. I think we can go. I mean, it's blowing 30 knots, but we've got so much of a lee behind this ice that it's not really affecting the sea state. So I reckon it's a go.
Well, we should probably have a go at them. Well, we've got 5 or 6 minke whales moving along together, so that's a good group for us to work. But they've just gone the other side of an ice floe.
Long ignored by hunters in favour of bigger whales, the minkes now top the list for lethal whale research. So you can't blame them for making a dash for the pack ice. Tangaroa follows. With luck, they'll re-emerge on the other side of the floe. A satellite tag on a minke in Antarctica would be a coup for non-lethal research. Captain Leachman will feel better back in the open water. Every time they enter the pack ice, it pushes the ship to the limit.
And we're an ice pusher, an icebreaker.
Tangaroa's reinforced hull can drive through broken pack ice, but not the solidifying sheets, which can freeze 3 meters thick. His main concern is for the tagging teams.
It'll be very difficult to put the boat in here because we couldn't go to the rescue if they got tipped up.
After 30 precarious minutes, Tangaroa breaks free, and the minkes are still in sight.
That's fantastic, Andrew. What kind of range are they currently over?
About 2 miles.
With Nick and the team about to launch, safety man Anthony Hull puts forward his concerns.
I think you and I need to get ourselves in a position where we can make a decision, because we've got 30 knots up there. I'm going to put 30 as the cutoff. We have to stick to that.
Okay.
I'm with a deteriorating forecast still, so.
All right, stand down.
Launching is declared too risky, leaving Nick disappointed, and the tagging team all dressed up and nowhere to go. Chasing the minkes has led Tangaroa right into the middle of the thickening Antarctic pack ice.
It's probably only 30, maybe 35 miles to the open sea. The difficulty is we're only able to do about 2 knots in these sort of conditions. But I can do without this. I really want to be in open water.
It could take another 2 days to safely steer the ship out.
Oh, hang on, it's starting to clear over there.
As they navigate through the minefield of pack ice, the team has just 16 days left to gather their research, and they've barely begun. So Nick makes a crucial decision. Abandon the minkes and head for humpback territory.
We're moving 60 to 100 miles to our north above the ice, and we know that this is an area where sighting surveys have seen more humpback whales, so we're hopeful to start coming across some higher densities of whales.
Their experience with the minkes proves how difficult it will be to implant satellite tags on whales in Antarctic conditions. As they nudge their way out of the ice, the ship's sounders show biologist Stéphane Gauthier when it's passing over a massive krill, the mainstay of the whale's diet.
So you look at the different signal across those different sounders, and you can differentiate between fish and plankton and krill.
Stephane's net will show what's on the whale's menu. In Antarctica, humpbacks can double their body weight, slurping down 2,500 kilos of krill and small fish every day.
This is actually some krill, Euphosia superba, one of the favorite food for whales around here.
These tiny creatures fuel the biggest creatures on Earth to make their lengthy migration south. As Tangaroa hits open water, Stephane's krill watch suddenly delivers the goods.
Blow. Ooh. Two backs up. Again, both very close together.
A pod of hungry humpbacks have come to feast, finally giving the team another opportunity to play tag. The A team will ride Remora, the red boat, with Sarah's B team on standby. Nick's on satellite tagging to track whale movements. On biopsy gun is sharpshooter Simon, collecting skin samples for Natalie's genetics study. Rochelle is chief photographer, hoping to capture whale ID shots. Natalie's also armed with a camera and eager to observe her first whale biopsy. Launching inflatables takes time, so the team on the bridge needs to keep tabs on the whales. If spooked, they'll dive, and these monsters of the deep can submerge for 30 minutes and swim more than 10 kilometers on a single breath. Nick's tagging gun fires with compressed air. The spike is kept sterile to protect the whales from infection. Kurt needs eyes in the back of his head to keep track of nearby whales. So Rochelle and Natalie help keep lookout, along with the spotters on Tangaroa's bridge.
Yeah, about 75 degrees left. Come left, Remora. Go slightly left. Over.
Copy that, heading slightly left.
At first, the whales seem too busy gorging themselves to notice the intruders. But not for long. Now the chase is on. They have only a few minutes to tag the whale before they risk stressing it. Kurt steers perilously close, so Nick can aim the tag precisely at the whale's body for the best satellite signal, while Simon's at the ready to biopsy dart the whale. Finally, after an agonizing 18-day wait, they deploy their first satellite tag.
Little low, but I wasn't game to shoot higher.
But the team's skeptical. Simon's biopsy dart hit target.
Especially when you get something like that. Oh! You bloody champion! What a shot! Well done!
No way! Tag away and biopsy.
First, the satellite tag driven home by the tag projectile. Then Simon's biopsy dart. It's a double whammy. And Natalie's grabbed the vital ID shot.
It wasn't a full fluke, but I got most of it. We had the most perfect whale in the whole world, and I got the tag shot as well, so it's all great. We're very happy.
No one's more relieved than Nick Gales.
It's a good start. It's a big relief to have been on the water and actually got some of the work underway.
Natalie's first skin sample is safely delivered on board.
So yeah, it's a good start.
Now all she needs is another 49. Day 22, more than halfway through the voyage. With just one satellite tag deployed, Nick desperately needs to get their research back on track.
That's the current waypoint, isn't it?
It is.
Chasing the minkes has put them behind schedule to reach the Bellini Islands, their original destination.
Try and focus in on making sure we get to areas where we think the highest aggregations are going to be.
Yep.
Known as a humpback hideaway, it'll take another 4 precious days to get there before the next storm front arrives. Rochelle uses the downtime to review photo ID shots taken so far, numbering each whale snapped for later matching.
There's 3. Yeah, that's 3. Yep. Yep.
I got 3 as well, but it was a different angle to this. It was looking down.
Yeah.
Each dorsal fin and tail fluke acts like a whale thumbprint. No two are alike. So the team takes every opportunity to snap whales' tails along the way. Rochelle will add them to a worldwide database that becomes a sort of travel diary for humpbacks.
And we've got some whales we've seen for 10, 12 years now, and we've seen them in 4 places. And it's like, where are you going? Where do you go in Antarctica on the way down? And so I'm excited about the possibility of finding answers to those questions.
Data collector Catriona might have that first answer. She's downloaded the latest satellite tracks from their only tagged humpback. The tag is beaming back the first clues about this lone whale's feeding behaviour and movements.
Nick, I've got the latest data up.
But they'll need more tags out for the bigger picture of whale movements.
It really moved up quite quickly to here, didn't it? And it's just been sitting there feeding in one tight aggregation area there. If we had more time, it'd be interesting to come all the way over and have a look at that.
This is something Nick doesn't have. Tangaroa must stay on course for the Bellinis. Unless this man hears differently. Jason Gadamke has been launching sonar buoys throughout the expedition to eavesdrop on the whales.
The buoys let us listen to any underwater sounds that are in the area, so if whales are producing sounds, we should be able to pick the sounds up and calculate bearings to where the whales are. So this is the sound of the sonar buoy.
He's just picked up sounds from the Earth's largest creature ever.
You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5th.
This could lead to something truly big.
What are you hearing, Jason?
Lots of blue whale sounds. Lots and lots and lots of blue whale sounds.
Blue whale calls travel hundreds of kilometers, so the chance of seeing one is small.
It looks to me like they're actually about 50 or so miles out, based just on those 2 bearings. Whether or not they've moved in along one of those over the night, don't know.
So we should just run down that bearing.
Historic whaling in Antarctica reduced blue whale numbers from an estimated 250,000 to just 400. Suddenly, a large whale is sighted off the bow. It could be the blue whale Jason's been listening to. He knows a satellite tag and a biopsy from a blue whale would be the holy grail for the research team. As Remora approaches, the pointy fin and dark colouring give it away. It's not the biggest creature on Earth. It's the runner-up.
Remora, this is a fin whale. Fin whale.
Fin whales can grow a massive 22 metres and weigh 80 tonnes. While humpbacks are still giants at 16 metres and weighing in at 30 tonnes. The minke is the baby of the great whales, growing to 10 metres and up to 14 tonnes. But the blue reigns supreme at 30 metres long and up to 150 tonnes. Almost 3 times the length of a bus and 10 times the weight. Fin whales are known as the greyhounds of the sea, scooting along at 40 kilometres an hour, too fast for a sat tag implant But Simon thinks a biopsy shot's on.
Oh, it's stuck in it. It's stuck in. No, it didn't. It just bounced up and hit its side.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
His first shot glances off, but his second hits home. While a satellite tag wasn't possible,
So what number's this?
a fin whale biopsy is a valuable bonus for the expedition.
Well done.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
It's another 3 days steam to the Bellini Islands, where hopefully the team's luck will change. Nick realizes the Bellinis could be their last chance to salvage the expedition before they head home. The forecast calls for settled weather, whatever that means in Antarctica. Day 28 dawns over the Bellini Islands, one of the least visited places on Earth. Along the way, the team has achieved a few more sat tags and skin biopsies, but they're still way short of their goals. They've only 6 days left, but at least the weather's cooperating.
-3.
In these parts, that's a warm day. More encouraging, a lone whale makes an appearance. And it's a humpback. Soon, others surround the ship. At last, a chance to add to their meagre total of sat tags and biopsies. Nick orders both inflatables onto the water. With time running out, a 30 tag maximum is now the best they can expect. Natalie faces even greater odds. She needs another 40 biopsies to ensure an effective result.
A few more biopsies would be fantastic, but I really hope we get some tags out.
Nick and the A-team are raring to go, darting away from the mothership.
The whales have just surfaced on your stern, probably about 300 metres behind you, over.
Back on board, Sarah is champing at the bit to get out.
I am looking forward to it. I hope we have some really cooperative whales and it'd be great.
Tango, this is Beluga, radio test.
Beluga, Tango, yep, getting it loud and clear. Yeah, clear to launch.
But safety comes first. The red and grey boats need to stay well out of each other's way. A stray shot from a high-powered tagging gun could be fatal. But it looks like both teams have plenty of whales to choose from. Wherever whales feed, birds swoop to pick up the scraps. So flocks of sooty shearwaters become a useful whale indicator. Like the humpbacks, sooties have also migrated thousands of kilometres south to gorge themselves on krill. Remora approaches the first whale. A drowsy female snoozing on the surface. If startled, she could easily flip them into the sea with her strong tail.
Tag, whoa, tag, wow.
The first tag of the day is textbook perfect.
Hey!
But the race is on to retrieve the biopsy before the locals claim a tasty morsel. It's a great start for the A-team.
Kurt brought us beautifully up on that whale. Went in a good location and Simon got the biopsy and Rochelle got the picture, so yeah, very pleased.
On the grey boat, Beluga, the B team is also onto a group of humpbacks.
You happy up there, Sarah? About 30 degrees on this starboard.
Yeah, we got him. Thanks very much.
Now, Sarah gets a chance.
You feel very close to the action. I guess you're right in the thick of it, then you really have to know when not to shoot as well as when to take the shot.
Tag away and biopsy at 2 flukes.
With both teams on target, Paul the whale spotter turns competitive.
That was great. 1-1.
Immediately, Nick positions Remora onto another handy pair of humpbacks. Tagging whales requires patience. It's taken 10 hours to bag their target of 6 tags. Victims of their own success, Nick needs to get back to the ship to replenish their ammo. This gives Simon the chance to take over the bowsprit and claim another biopsy for Natalie.
Gotcha. Maybe. I think that was a good hit.
That was a good hit.
Keeper?
Yeah, it's a keeper. Good hit.
As Natalie's biopsy tally rises, the Tangaroa team quickly prepares more SAT tags for Nick.
I'm just gonna hurl it over to you. I'll get it right on.
Thank you very much.
With the teams rearmed and the weather holding, they head straight back into the fray. With a storm front forecast, Sarah's determined to make the most of her remaining time on the water.
You want to come forward, Sarah? 150 metres on the bow.
It'd be really nice to get a few more tags out today and end on a high.
Yeah, we got them. Thanks very much.
She's directed onto a likely group of humpbacks.
20 degrees to your starboard, about 200 metres.
Copy that.
The increasingly lumpy seas mean Sarah will need to be precise with her aim. She needs to tag the whale high on its back so the antenna can break the surface and ping the satellite. As they approach, Sarah's having trouble finding the whale in her sights.
Just not quite on top of them, are they? Oh, they must do it. Oh, surely. Okay, Sarah, come on, now.
In the heaving swell, she chooses her moment.
Coming up, across the bow.
More Tangaroa, well done. Over.
With the weather finally closing in, it's time to call in the teams and update their tally. They don't realize it yet, but the team has broken a record. 16 satellite tags deployed over 2 days. And Sarah's on a high about her last encounter.
She came up right next to us and we just did the most perfect deployment. It was high, it was fully implanted, she had absolutely no reaction. It was the perfect deployment. We couldn't have asked for better. Well done!
You too, Sarah, well done. Guys. Fantastic, yeah.
Nick hopes this moment will add greatly to knowledge of the humpback migration loop to Antarctica and back.
With satellite tags and some of the latest technologies we're using, we're closing the loop. We're able to work down in the really difficult parts, down in their feeding grounds in Antarctica, and work out what they're doing down here for the rest of the summer. So it's very exciting.
Natalie's PhD is also back on track, with 23 more biopsies collected.
I was quite worried for a time there, thinking we're just not going to get enough samples, but today has given us all a real boost.
But she's still well short of the total she needs. On the bridge, the latest weather report is in. It seems a settled spell in these parts comes at a price. And now it's payback time. In Antarctica, storms strike with such power that even a sturdy ship like Tangaroa can't avoid their fury. Screaming 70-knot winds funnel past the Bellini Islands, and massive swells pound the ship. The team can do little but ride it out.
A bit rough for dancing.
And tie down their equipment. The storm has blown away all hopes they'll meet their mission targets as they have to head home in just 3 days. Without enough biopsies, Natalie's genetic work could be severely limited.
So there we are there at the moment.
Nick needs to rethink their strategy, and fast. A day's sail west lies a giant iceberg. The sheltered side of this floating island could give them protection for one last shot at the humpbacks.
So what we'll do, winds in the northwest, we're just going to hang around here for 3 days.
It's a long shot, but they have nothing to lose. As Tangaroa approaches, there's absolutely no chance of missing it on the radar.
Now that's an impressive iceberg.
It is indeed.
So what sort of size is it? It's huge.
28 miles long and about 18 miles wide. I don't actually know where it ends yet.
It's a remnant from a massive berg that broke away over 10 years ago. Twice the size of New York City, it's likely the largest floating object on Earth. Tangaroa, now sheltered from the big swell, still finds no whales. Morale begins to fall. Nick orders the crew to pack up and lash down the inflatables for the long journey home. But in the bowels of the ship, Stephane's work continues. Suddenly, he detects they're passing over a huge mass of krill. And where you find krill, you usually find whales. Humpbacks are all around them.
Nick.
With the inflatable stashed, there's no time to launch, and Nick's come too far to give up now. Like a sniper for science, he's determined to tag a whale from the deck, 10 meters above the rolling waves, something he's never tried before. It's an outside chance, but worth a shot. Biopsy shooter Simon follows Nick's lead. If he succeeds, he'll be Natalie's hero.
It's incredible.
The quick-thinking Simon has attached a fishing reel to the biopsy gun so he can reel in the samples. The deck, slick as a skating rink, increases the danger. And at $3,500 per sat tag, Nick needs to be deadly accurate, willing to hold out for the perfect shot.
There was one very close there.
Around 20 humpbacks appear to be enjoying Tangaroa's company. Simon lines up his first whale around 30 meters away. A direct hit. And the reel cunningly retrieves the dart and its precious genetic cargo. Suddenly, Natalie's biopsy dilemma is not looking so dire.
We couldn't have asked for anything better. We seriously found the hot spot for humpbacks today, and there were just animals everywhere.
As long as the whales hang around, Nick and Simon stay on the chase. While Simon picks off the whale biopsies, Nick stays in pursuit of a handy humpback. He needs to be in exactly the right place at the right time. His aim is true. Soon, satellite tag number 30 will start uploading precious data.
It's the first one I've had the nerve to actually shoot from the ship. It was a long shot, so it was probably a 20-metre shot at least.
With 30 sat tags now deployed, they've finally met their target. But on the bow, Simon's still shooting. With whales still around the ship, Natalie's tally continues to rise. The more biopsies mean better accuracy for her DNA study. While it seemed impossible a few days ago, Natalie's more than met her biopsy target.
Which brings our total up to about 65, which is way more than I could have ever expected.
Just when things are looking up, Antarctica's weather packs in again. And the doctor makes a distressing discovery in the medical container.
Well, it would appear that the straps that were holding the trolley here broke away last night, and the trolley's been careering around all night and has damaged extensively equipment throughout the CMF.
Without emergency medical backup, there's no option but to continue their journey home. After weathering over 5,000 nautical miles of temperamental Antarctic ocean, the team can return with their heads held high, knowing they've finally met their targets. With the satellite data constantly downloading, Nick can track the whale's movements in near real time.
It's fantastic to actually see the data flowing in now and just starting to see some early patterns in where they go for their krill. And all of that information on the feeding grounds, seeing whether they're just feeding in one little area or moving over really big areas, is going to be really new to us.
Rochelle and Natalie's work is still ahead, crunching their data to reveal more about the humpback's migratory mysteries.
I really don't know what I'll discover. I mean, there could be one breeding population using this particular area, or there could be numerous populations. My mind's open. Anything can happen.
And Rochelle is desperate to know if whales she's studied in Tonga have made an appearance down here.
There's no reason why whales from down here shouldn't be in Tonga. So we'll see. I mean, in probably 4 or 5 months' time, I'll be able to tell you the answer a little more clearly.
Day 42, the team arrives back in civilization. Rochelle begins cross-referencing her tail fluke photos against more than 17,000 in the Australian and South Pacific database. She makes 25 positive matches, showing the majority of humpbacks they photographed migrated from Eastern Australia. No Tongan whales show up. Meanwhile, Natalie's DNA analysis makes 7 positive matches from her biopsy samples. Like Rochelle's results, all but one linked to Eastern Australia. But when she makes a more complex study, using all the genetic data available, it produces a surprising result. It appears rare humpbacks from New Caledonia are also feeding near the Bellini Islands alongside their Australian cousins. Her discovery proves there is intermixing, after all, between at least 2 groups in this remote part of the world. Finding out where humpback populations feed is a critical step for researchers in understanding how quickly these rare South Pacific groups are recovering since the end of commercial whaling.
You can't come here once and say that you know what's going on. It takes years. These animals live for 60 or 70 years. We are only just scratching the surface on this trip.
The team have met the challenge of researching the ice whales of Antarctica, proving their non-lethal techniques will pay off.
We've shown that you can come down to areas that are incredibly difficult to work in, get the tags out on the whales and see the movements of these animals.
Although Japanese researchers no longer plan a humpback kill, over 900 minke and fin whales are still targeted to die each summer in the name of science.
Effectively, we need really good science to manage these animals in a wise way. And that science can be and is being delivered using non-lethal techniques.
There you go.
Sarah.